对啊，特别收入是什么？哦，这个是那个吗？第一个这个是什么沙吗？这是不是啊？看一下他是谁？会很久吗？这时间会很久吗？哦，他是什么沙？有像哎、欸。欸，都超像的。Ashley 比较不像。我对这个男生没有印象欸，他有得到影帝哦。艾克军团，哦，啊，我声音关掉了，对不起，对，我声音关掉了。
Everyone together on the anniversary.
Sorry.
I mean, Josh seemed really pumped about us all.
因为我刚刚怕那个有音乐。
Yeah, no, he definitely did. I haven't seen him so excited about something in forever.
Good. Sam and I
可
have
是女生很漂亮欸，我觉
few
得
things in common, such as being huge lovers of animals.
她蛮漂亮的。
And she's a huge animal lover. She's vegan. She is a pacifist. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to go as far as saying that I'm a pacifist, but she's spunky and cool. I know that I think is made fun of a little bit by the rest of them who think that her morals and her beliefs in that area are a little ridiculous and they don't agree with them, but she doesn't care. It doesn't stop her from being herself, and I hope I haven't.
他有介绍到那个 Emily 吗？我没有看到。
Sometimes and a bit of a loner, but he takes some solace in one of his sister's friends.
有哦
played by Hayden Panettiere,
看太快。
invites everybody back to the same house the next year to kind of find some closure.
Jessica is, she has a whole lot of
这个嘛
personality. She
你觉得他很丑是不是？
sort of mean girl
就
character that
眼睛
you know,
画出
at
来。
school she knows she's pretty. She knows that boys like her, and she's going to use it to her advantage.
He's got a big heart, and you can tell that that's very evident, especially how.
这个男生是不是后来还有另外一个也是恐怖游戏的？
He's kind of a meathead, but
我觉得他很眼熟。
She really knows what she wants.
哦，他嘛 Emily 对不对？
To get that from whomever it is, whether it be Matt or Mike, you know.
超像的。
I can definitely relate to that.
my character is Chris, and he is what society might consider the nerd of the group.
宅男没错。
And he kind of embraces it.
让你感到失望。
She's a little more serious than some
可
of
是
the other girls.
我觉得刚刚看还好啦，没有，但是 Samantha 那个角色比较漂亮。
The whole big picture of things. She's not quite as geeky as Chris, but they connect in a lot of ways.
Mike is like big guy on campus. He's the class president who
果然
has
是班长。
has brain, and I don't know. People seem to like Mike. He gets away with a lot.
没有啊，谁会喜欢他？有个轻浮的。
Kind of jerky.
The fact that he really just kind of wants everyone to be happy, and he wants for.
马修的戏份最少。
That's.
那个合起来不到10分钟吧？ 还是因为我玩太快，我把它玩死了，所以那就大概10分钟而已吧，我猜。
That's definitely Matt.
But also, like, this character is just so fun. I rarely get to play the bitch, and so it was really fun to do that.
The spirit of things, seriously?
超像的啦。
Just try to lighten the mood, Em. Don't be like that.
Like what?
The way you're being, you always get like this.
I just think this.
对啊，我太早选错，让他领便当。
I just think it's going to take the world by storm. I really do. I think this genre is the wave of the future, and I think that once people see the potential behind it of getting to interact with the drama that you're witnessing unfold in such a realistic way that this is how entertainment's going to be from now on.
好，看得差不多咯。场景。
Hi, this is Lee Robinson, production designer on Until Dawn. Production design for Until
应该
Dawn
都会
started
吧，
with
因
the
为
great
发现
teen
很
horror
热门
script
之后，大家
that
就
sets
一
the
窝
characters
蜂
in
啊
a。Canadian winter mountain lodge, being a contemporary setting with visual clues derived from classic films of that genre, such as Hitchcock's Psycho and Stanley Kubrick's Shining. The storyboards are vital to the production design as it allows the designer to understand the scale of the environments to be made
我觉
and
得这
the
种场
detail
景
that
制
will
作
be
真的
seen
很
to
厉
create
害
the atmosphere of a horror. This took
然
us
后
into
做那些
concepts
分
that
镜
took
哦
these storyboards further,
真的很
visualizing
强
the world through the color palette, the lighting, tone, and the mood, and developing key locations such as the lodge, the cable car stations, forests themselves, the wilderness. As you can see, the environments and atmospheres change quite a bit from warm and inviting to cold and threatening. The Millionaire's Mountain Lodge was a key example. It was designed to be made from nearby stone and timber, embedding it into the landscape, with a contrasting and contemporary interior needing to be opulent and extravagant. We created dark and claustrophobic corridors with ominous and large open spaces, almost cathedral-like in size, and with huge structures to silhouette and dwarf the characters within, providing a labyrinth to explore and wander.
对啊，他就算画得很
Each
正，我还
character
是
was
觉得
developed
是
with a
迷
strong
狗，
visual
走
identity
不
in
出去。
mind, with contrasting colours, tones, and silhouettes to identify them, each to have their own texture, pattern, and shape, so that when they were lined up, you could always identify them. The costume
那好逼
designs
真
allowed
哦
a range of clothes that would suit them for the cold winter weather, but also have an element of style and individualism, so that the audience could look at them and relate, recognizing themselves within them.
A lady would like to cuddle up with her man by a nice cozy fire bathed in atmospheric mood lighting.
Right. It'll get plenty toasty. Rubbing up against each other.
前面这一段其实我蛮受不了的，
Fire and
就有点
mood lighting.
Yes.
动没
Working with
掉，
lighting
没有耐
artists,
心
we
看。
really brought the look and feel of the world together, and this required a thorough understanding of the visual language of teen horror. A key scene was where all the characters emerge out of the rear of the lodge chasing Hannah. A contrast is evident straight away from the exterior wilderness to the warmth of the lodge. The attention to character lighting here is through the bounce and rim lighting, accented colours and composition, creating characters that come from the dark into the light and back again with an emotional effect.
Guys, there's someone outside. What the hell?
Hannah!
What's going on? Where's my sister going?
It's fine. She just can't take a joke.
It was just a prank, Han.
受不了，他们的玩笑其实开的蛮，我觉得蛮不好的。大家那个科学是什么？
Until Dawn is a game that's full of horror, and one of the things we decided to do early on was to take a scientific
真的是太可怕了！他们会这样子抖吗？
So we
有没有？
did experiments on people, and we measured their responses to the game. We've created a test area. It's as close to a home setup as we can get it. We've recruited ordinary people to play the game, and we've left them to play it on
啊，
their
独
own.
自一人，我都开灯哎，会不会有人尖叫？我看他们反应。
The only difference is it's rigged with cameras and microphones that relay the
对
data
啊，我
through
觉
to
得
the
好
next room
强
where
哦
people are watching them play. Bracelet here we use for biometric testing. It measures the player's emotional response. It's called a galvanic response sensor. It makes contact with the user's skin, and it measures the electrical conductivity across their skin. It's the same principle as an old-fashioned lie detector.
所以可以看到他心跳
When you're stressed, you sweat
心跳
a
多
little,
少是
very
吗？
sensitive, picks up tiny changes if the player is feeling anxious or scared. That data is fed back to a testing team, comes through as a graph.
那选择放下汉娜。哎，这个人反应好可爱哦，他很害怕，你看他，但他怎么都不会尖叫。
No point testing one or two people, you have to test a lot of people.
Watch your step.
When we have a scare that's consistently has a measurable emotional response, then we knew it was good. If it didn't have that, it goes back to the team for improvement. The data doesn't tell us what's wrong with the scare, it only tells us if it's working.
Wait, okay, so you hear that too, right?
然后我测试应该会蛮有成就
Here
感。
we have a chapter relatively early
我
in
看到
the
那么多人
game.
尖叫，为什么？
Weirdly regular.
他只是害怕啊。
Nothing regular about it.
We have to create tension and anxiety in the player so they are ready to receive the scare.
就是左边刚刚那个人是有骂出来是吗？
You have to give the player time to recover, to cool down, to calm down, and then start building the tension again before we do the next scare.
天啊！
Hey.
原来这么有趣哎！
Hey.
What the hell?
Ooh, you just got mucked.
Yeah, I have such an adrenaline high from that game.
There's two things we found. One is we could look at the scares, analyze if our expected scares were working effectively. Were people shrieking and covering their hands, or were they getting an emotional response from it? And being scientific about it means that we strip out people's opinions about whether things are working or not. We've got data, and we look at the data. If it's working, we're happy with it.
Pretty scary.
Bit scared and wanting to get away. I actually maybe a bit scared to play on my own, but
in a room with the lights on, yeah, with some other people as well, yeah, maybe.
这刚刚不是叫得很大声
I
吗？
would play with someone in the room.
脚都翘起来
And the
了。
lights on.
It was one of the scariest games I've played in a long while.
真的有吓到很多次哎，我觉得蛮有趣的，看一下好了。
Hi, Larry.
Hey, Graham.
Hi, my name is Graham Resnick. I'm a filmmaker, writer, director, sound designer, and I started
这
working
游
with
戏不知道
live
制作
testing
多
about
久？
10, 15 years ago through my friend Ty West, who I grew up with, and I've done a lot of sound design with on his films. And he was producing Ty's films at the time, and Ty introduced me to Larry. Larry produced my first feature, and we've written together on several projects.
My name is Larry Fessenden. I'm a filmmaker. I run Glass Eye Pix, which is
那有没有很像那
an
个
independent production company
演
out
那
in
个
New
沉
York.
默的羔羊那个？
We make indie movies.
叫什
a lot
么
of
什么
scary
名字
movies as well.
啊
And
忘记了。
I
忘
got
记
a
名
call
字
to
了。
audition to write.
还有演那个什么《爱车心里口难开》那个啦。
I called my pal Graham Resnick because Graham is a gamer.
安东尼·霍普金斯。
While I thought I could offer something to the idea of
是啊
writing
你
this
说那个神秘人吗？
multi-branching
哦
story, I knew that I would want
哎，对呀，你们好厉害哦！
expertise as a lover of gameplay, since I guess games were.
那就少付一个角色的钱。
And just as a lover.
And as a lover, yes. Which is why there's so many sex jokes in the game.
There was one Italian website that did say the Larry
that's
Fessenden and
right.
Graham Resnick, the two lovers behind Until Dawn.
Fair. Maybe I know how to handle you too.
I am definitely ready to be handled.
没有自爱到最后。对啊，早早退场。
We got the gig, and it's been an amazing ride.
其实我觉得这个也蛮奇怪的，是真的，一般这样子他就直接女生会这么自动哦？国外都这样子吗？我觉得这样有点尴尬哎。
Hannah.
I'm sorry, Hannah. It's all good.
Right,
I can't,
just
but
So in the game, the basic setup is that a year prior to the game's start, all these kids had gone up to a ski lodge that was owned by the parents of one of the or a couple of the kids, and some of the teenagers played a prank on some of the other teenagers, and a terrible tragedy occurred when a few of them, two sisters, ran out into a blizzard.
我偷拍的是马修。哎。 其实刚这个啊，汉娜跟那个贝斯啊，刚刚一开始那个，刚刚里面有一个人玩的游戏，他不是选择把那个汉娜放下去吗？可是最后贝斯还是手臂没有力掉下去啊。
Help him cope
但其实有时候那个
help
选
them all
择
get over it. They all
只是
return to
多
the
拖
lodge
延一点
later,
时间。
back up on the mountain. And the idea is to get over it, but
the healing does not begin.
and these kids are all trying to find themselves. They've been through a trauma, but in general, they're just teenagers trying to figure out who they are. So they're all kind of falling into the patterns, the stereotypes, the characters they see on TV and in the movies.
I think we were very interested in taking genre tropes and kind of making them sort of refresh them.
所以这时候在外面一直看着，其实就是要杀温迪哥的那些人哦。
Dad said it'd just be us this weekend.
We're familiar with how slasher movies work. Most people have seen some horror movies. They have established notions and preconceptions of the roles of the players in horror movies and how they talk and how they get killed and how they have sex. And to bring you into the game that way and then subvert a lot of those expectations.
They're haunted by some incident that happened in their past, which I
我觉得它效果算是很成功了，真的蛮成功。
A role in their interaction. Yeah, so I think what was fun was we take some sort of stock characters and we try to give them some shape, but at least at the beginning they're recognizable in the way of groups of friends. There's the jock and the bitchy girl and the rivalries between everyone. And
oh my gosh. And really fun characters.
其实这几个角色很典型诶，就是很像那些美国青少年影集里面那些啊，比如啦啦队队长啊、运动健将啊，然后吃饭就一桌，有没有？像这一种。然后汉娜就是比较会被人家恶作剧的。
Both in movies, but also that you absolutely have with friends and sort of those inside jokes. And of course, as writers and as friends ourselves, we
对啊，就是都会有哈，就是走路自带光环那种啊。风啊，头发都会吹。我想要看他们那个技术面诶，配乐要看吗？配乐我倒觉得还好，我想看这个。
My name is Will Biles, Executive Creative Director of Until Dawn.
创意总监诶。
The first part of getting a believable facial performance in game is to capture topographically the actor's range of emotional expressions as separate versions of the same head. Every tiny nuance gets digitized and merged, effectively creating a model that can recreate every facial movement.
但是要怎么把它整合到3D 啊？
Once the topography has been recorded, the actor's performance itself can be captured by using a predetermined set of marker points drawn precisely on the face and a high-def helmet cam, wirelessly linked to capture devices. The camera is the small box where it looks like the microphone should be.
Sam. Mark.
It records in high def the movement of the dots throughout the performance that will drive the expressions captured earlier. Unlike other systems, this form of capture is far less lossy because there are fewer interpretations between performance captured and performance rendered finally in game. The audio is also recorded via 2 separate lavalier mics attached to the helmet. It takes a while for the actors to acclimatise to carrying around the recording devices and the helmet cams, but very soon the shoot becomes similar to any other effects shoot or a green screen shoot. The actors in these scenes are only recording facial animation, but use cursory body movements for pacing.
Wait, and maybe we should all stick together and find everybody and make sure that we're all okay, so...
1-1, the year before the prank. Take 2, Mark.
Other than the other actors, they have to use their imagination.
对，完全没东西啊。
Everywhere that they are supposed to be seeing and feeling. From a hot midday studio in Los Angeles to a freezing midnight mountain in British Columbia.
好强哦！哇塞！超强的。再看一下。 我觉得游戏后面有这些收录，我觉得很好诶。
Because Until Dawn has a dynamic, ever-changing story, the facial performances and the body performances are recorded separately with different systems. With the body capture, we use reflective bead suits and an infrared camera matrix system that drives the CG bone hierarchies in our character models. These performances cover everything from character locomotion, scene-specific performances and stunt work, most of which was recorded at studios in Pinewood and Shepperton, near London.
Hannah! Hello?
Combining all the elements seamlessly in the final game becomes a formidable editing and logistical task. Every variation, both physical and emotional, must be combined in these multi-edits. Scaffolding props have to stand in for the sets, because the hundreds of infrared cameras have to be able to see all of the reflective beads on the actor.
我想看温迪哥，他有没有温迪哥的那个动作还是什么 ？Oh my god！ 这也是人类扮的吗？
Just move over there. Go on, move. Let me say what I came to say. I'm here to tell you what you're up against being back on this mountain. You should never have returned. I don't know why you did after what happened last year.
You mean with Hannah and Beth?
Yeah, how could you know without being involved?
I don't take kindly to you kids coming up here to my mountain.
Your mountain.
The mountain don't belong to me, it's true. But it don't belong to the
他那牙齿缺牙都跟导演一样。
belongs to the Wendigo.
Hi, this is Lee Robinson, production designer at Supermassive Games. Understanding the ancient myths of the Wendigo was key for their development that helped the visual look. Through sketches and concepts, these elements were visualized, such as eyes being milky, almost dead, with loss of lips and eyelids due to frostbite, fangs growing and arms and legs getting longer, with skin hardening and thickening to look snarling and menacing, yet withered and lean.
What the hell was that? Another fucking piece of...
Fingers and toenails extending like claws, allowing them to climb effortlessly. We made them look gaunt and weathered, and having ragged remains of clothes they wore. Blood-stained and rotten, with patches of hair still remaining, they retained strong skeletal limbs, which enable them to be agile and quick through the environment.
Where are you?
My name is Jamie Gallipo, animation director at Supermassive. The overall direction on the creature was to be very strong, to be extremely fast. We wanted a spider-like movement to the creature. 1 minute scampering to leaping and then crawling, almost instantaneous. And finally, we wanted the creature to have this real, uncontrollable thirst for flesh.
From a sound design perspective, the Wendigo is a real challenge. For the main vocalizations of the Wendigo, we used our own vocalizations, various different animals from the exotic to the farmyard, various plugins and processes to gel these sounds together and keep a human resonance behind that voice, telling the backstory of the Wendigo. During the chase sequences, the anger of the Wendigo is felt by encircling breaths, screams and screeches that essentially chase you as you're being chased by the Wendigo. We would layer them up in a multitude of layers, sometimes 15, 20 sounds playing at the same time, to build up the vocalizations for this fearsome creature which is always in attack mode, hyperactive, and chasing you throughout the game.
温迪哥哦，我再去来找找看，因为我上次好像是看了一个日本动画里面才写温迪哥，可是他那个游戏，这个日本动画的那个温迪哥里面是跟他这个设定不太一样。我也是第一次玩恐怖游戏，我之前都是就是偶尔看呐，我就超害怕的。然后上次有一个机会跟朋友一起玩那个小小梦夜2，我玩不下去，到后面那个有他那个小小梦夜到第3章还第二章还第3章。有那个在医院里面，然后都是护士，有的缺手缺脚这样子，然后乱动的， 我真的不行，我后来就跟他说我没办法玩。